So we'll wait for a little while before people join us, if people will join us. We had a Facebook Live yesterday, and it dropped in and dropped out a little bit. So we are choosing to stay present with our trajectory, our intention, which is to offer a Facebook Live and a YouTube Live for once a week across December. Fingers crossed that our technology supports us to do this. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dana, and I'm a spirit channel soul coach and a woman, human being. And so as I stand here, or sit here rather, in my seat of professional power, I'm here to open the door to spirit and what that might look like for you. And so I invite you, if you do join us in the live, to please say hi. Let me acknowledge you. I do appreciate the opportunity to say hi. It's actually, I think, a fundamental human right to be seen by others. And sometimes all that takes is basically just saying hi. I'd also just appreciate some comments so that I can check to make sure that there are some comments. So, hooray. Hi, Christina. Thanks for saying hi. We'll dive into your question in a minute. Thank you for asking your question. Before I go forwards, I just want to acknowledge that I situate myself at the moment on Bundjalung land of the Arawak Nation, and I pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging, recognizing that sovereignty was never ceded and that I live here on land that we share. Having an Anglo-Celtic background, I do have ancestors who weren't originally from this land. They were from somewhere else, but I've been born here. And I very much deeply appreciate the opportunity to be here and to do this and to be allowed to do this as a part of my sacred mission. And I feel as I land on sacred mission, I feel like we're just going to talk a little bit about sacred mission and what that might mean for you. And if you're tuning in after the video, hopefully some of this resonates. Please feel free to share a comment to let me know if it does, if it meets you. And if you'd like further advice and support, then you're welcome to book a one-on-one session with me via my website, which is www.danaspiritbutterfly. That's DANA spiritbutterfly.com. And I'm happy to be of service to you in that way. We also, of course, offer intuitive training. And the intuitive training is something that for me is a personal love. I love to teach people about their intuition and to awaken a greater sense of intuition and to explore their what we call spidey senses, which is basically their language discernment, psychic language discernment muscles. We all have them. It's a part of what we call the sacred feminine rising. And so if you've watched any of my videos, you'll hear me talk about the sacred feminine rising. And in many ways, what I'm talking about is the creation of space in our communities and in our own lives that land essentially on our ability to tune in and to flow with the language of spirit as it shows up through you personally. And we all have our own magic. It's quintessential to recognize how that shows up for you and what that looks like for you. In order to do that, you may have to step outside of your ordinary life, though, which sometimes can be a bit uncomfortable, specifically if we are in relationship paradigms that ask us to have to adhere to a dominant idea or a particular idea. And we've all been in those relationships. They may be from your mother or father or your partner or your son or daughter, or it might be just a friend or, an organization, an institution that you may be working for or educated in. These types of organizations and structures, of course, do create paradigms of relationship. And so a part of the paradigm of relationship comes with the unspoken expectations that we have for others and that are expressed towards us maybe unconsciously. And so it's not until we actually get into verbal words and actual physical dialogues with those institutions sometimes that we can fully become aware and validate that which we feel intuitively. But if there's no intuitive voice in the first place, quite often you're left without the tools that maybe you need to discern better options for you, or maybe to ask for a different experience in your reality. And this is quite important. It's important to ask for that which you need. And firstly, you have to know what that is. And so most of us need a reconnect with the sacred feminine. We need a reconnect with our sacred voice. We need a reconnect with our emotional self so that we can hear what is actually going on under the surface. And then those incidences that we have where we say things that may hurt people, that just blart out of our mouths, those incidences lessen. And they lessen because you're already flowing with spirit energy in and through you, which is what we're designed for. We're designed to receive energy and to process it for our greater good, for our nourishment and for our nurturance, and to release that which doesn't belong to us. And this is a dialogue, and this is something that we need to be active in personally for ourselves to grow. So let me just say hi, Blue Butterfly. Thank you for saying hi again. I'm doing pretty great, actually. I'm definitely in the blues today. And those of you who know, this color blue is the color of intuition. So it's the color of the third eye chakra. Also happens to be my favorite color. So indigo butterfly healing, beautiful. Hi. Great, Sam. I'm really glad you managed to get back on. So thank you for your question. We will tune in for you today. I felt that we wanted to do that yesterday, but as you noticed, and if you do run your own business, you'll notice that sometimes things just don't go according to plan. And ironically, it's actually a part of the sacred feminine gift, because sometimes things land for you that maybe they shouldn't. And it takes a little bit of faith and courage to actually move forwards and express yourself in truth. We'll tune into you. And thanks for your question, Blue Butterfly. So, all right, we'll dive in. We're going to do mostly card readings for you today, partially because I'm also a big fan of card reading, and I also offer courses in card readings. Or at least we're going to get one up next year. We also can use the cards to demonstrate what we call the clairs. And the clairs is, as we said before, language discernment, psychic language discernment. And the cards just make some things more obvious than working without cards. Also, you know, a lot of people like to play with cards. It's kind of fun. You can get together with friends and just muck around with some oracle cards and maybe learn a little bit of tarot. I know I had a date with a guy. In our first date, he talked a little bit about psychic stuff, and I was like, this was before I did this, and I was like, that's really interesting. And then the second date, he actually brought his tarot cards with me and played with them, and I was so deeply impressed. It was crazy. And then I learned to read and realized that actually he wasn't that good a reader. He actually didn't bother me at the time, did it? So maybe, you know, not being such a great reader is no reason why you shouldn't read for people. It's a practice, right? Something that you get better. So, thanks, Sam. It takes a lot of strength to be a woman in business. I mean, business in itself is challenging, but when you're intuitive, spirit intuitive, we are soft and sensitive by nature. And so all of these electronics don't operate particularly well with our own nervous systems. So in order to read in the way that I do, there's a lot of training of my energy to be able to hold the energy and to keep it open for you. So, you know, that's some part of the gift. So we'll first start with Christina Love. Your question here is the month of January being between you and Ivan. I actually heard Spirit say good question, because there is actually a lot coming up for you. And we may have mentioned that last time. So I'm going to do what's called a 3-card spread, which basically gives us with information about where you've been, information about where you're going, and information about what tools you have available to you now to be able to assist that moving forwards. I also get a sense, as I just land on the 3rd card, which I'll show you in a minute, I get a sense that you have a little bit of anxiety around being alone. and that in a fashion, there's a tether between you and Ivan to keep you in a cycle of growth while you're waiting for the word I got was for your prince to come. And so we'll dive into that a little bit further in a minute. The first card I want to refer to is actually where you've come from. And so the feeling I get, essentially, this is the third of swords, and the three of swords, rather. And swords talks about intellect. It talks about what I call the mind mapping system, which is basically how you see out of your eyes and you come to understand the way the world works. So as I go through my life and my journey, life experience changes the way that I see my perspective and reality. And so this sense here that I have with a three is usually about stability. And I see you looking to find mental stability in the past. And there's been a part of you that's wanted to be in a relationship and has made assurances to yourself that as soon as you land in a relationship that's stable for you, you're going to experience greater mental stability. Now, when I talk about mental stability, I want to disarm the shame that's attached to what we would call mental illness. I personally call it mental wellness because personally, my own experience and journey with mental wellness has helped me, and also working with a lot of clients on this particular issue, means that we all go through periods of uncertainty where we don't fully, what is mapped in our minds doesn't seem to match the external reality. So I might look out of my eyes and act in accordance with that. And as I do that, what happens in the external world is different to what is expected. And in the space in between my expectations and what's actually happening comes this disheartened feeling that somehow something's broken about you. And so your past has left you with a lot of opportunities to perceive yourself as broken. And I assure you, you're not broken. I assure you, you're mentally well. I assure you that you've got your back, that you do know how to take care of yourself. But the universe, our universe in its wisdom, likes to challenge our feeling of safety, because when we feel unsafe, often we make different decisions or we change. And the emphasis here I get from Spirit is about change. Now, as I'm telling you about this, I'm getting visual cues from the card. So if you want to understand a little bit more about reading, I do have a course that's upcoming next year around reading, but a part of this is using this as an interface to work through my clairs. And I get the sense that you're already reading and you're already in a process of learning how to read. So this is actually really great for you. I also am being reminded that people who experience mental instability often are great readers because the journey of life asks them to question the mundane and asks them to question that which is just accepted as true. And so you, honey, are going through a phase at the moment where your questioning is leading to better answers, because the answers that you've had in the past have led to you stabbing yourself. And if you can see the sword in her own back, I get the sense that this is your own sword stabbing you in the back. And to the left and the right, I'm getting directed that the swords that are around you, they're not penetrating your fields, belong to your parents. Your parents, both of them, are sacrifices. They tend to have mental mind mapping systems that actually hurt them before they try to hurt them before they actually express their hurt. And when they express their hurt, it hurts you. And so there's a certain amount, and I get this reflectivity in reference to you and your son, that the hurt that you experience, sometimes you express it outwardly in words that actually seem to hurt your son. I use the word seem because we can never regulate someone else's life experience, and certainly with children, we have no control over how they're going to perceive something. We can influence them, but we have no ability to fully influence them because they're masters of their own experience, and their soul is contracted to have particular life experiences, and those things are out of your hands. This is the nature of being a parent. So, all right, okay, cool. Can I ask you, is Ivan your partner? Because if it is, I would suggest that there's an imbalance in your actual relationship where you're taking care of him in ways that he's not necessarily able to show up for you, because that can happen. So, the middle card. Spirit is also saying this is about the past. So we're also talking a little bit about past here. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Christina, for affirming that. So with Ivan, yeah, Spirit is just asking me to declare, for some reason, your energy is very similar to a friend of mine who actually has this dynamic with her son. So, and she may actually watch this video at some point. So I suspect that there's something there that she will know what's going on with regards to that, because, you know, we know when something is said for someone else and there's some resonance for us, you know. So the Lover's card, this is you and him now. So this is just affirmation that you guys are in a sacred relationship. And when we use the term sacred relationship, we're talking about you being contracted. So you guys, I'll move that because it's probably a little bit easier to see that way. So you guys are in a relationship. You guys are in a relationship which is teaching both of you about love and how to love. And so at the moment, I actually feel like I'm not dwelling on what's going on with you right now, because I feel like what's going on with you right now is actually quite complex. There's a lot of layers to it. And I see you just said he was not used to genuine love before he was left before for someone he knew. So the fact that I was drawn to that comment, it's quite common with love and relationships. It's quite common for us to have past relationships that are, in a fashion, like a seed bed for what we have now, and they prepare you for what is here now. So every relationship that we've ever had helps to inform the mind mapping system we were talking about before, and how we see out of our eyes and what it is that we can see that matches us or doesn't match us. And so past relationships always do that, whether it's you or him. But in both cases, you both have relationship baggage. Spirit's saying you're going to be careful that you don't take on responsibility for his baggage. You need to own your own. And we all have it. And no matter how good you are at clearing energy, every single relationship we ever have is always going to reflect where you've come from, because of the way the human is structured. It's the way our memories are structured. There is no point in any time where any of us get so clear of our past relationship experience that it doesn't impact us to some extent now. Partially because the way I see the world through my mapping system is created because of the past. And so everything that you see, no matter where you are at it, whether you're carrying grief and frustration and anger and all that stuff, or whether or not you just remember all the beautiful parts of your love experience and see how that's coming here forwards now, all of this stuff is always going to be connected. So moving forwards, I actually did get the Hermit card for January. Now, the Hermit card is a number 9 card, so I don't know if you can see the number 9 there, but number 9 talks about transformation. It's usually the end of a phase. I get the sense that it's not an ending so much as a new beginning. And in order to do that, there needs to be a certain amount of ownership of self. So we've talked so far about your relational paradigm, of how you've had some doubts to yourself as to whether or not you're okay, and that as a part of that, you've been conditioned from your parents to, to bully yourself into behaving a particular way and to make problems your problem. Now, there are times when we actually do need to fully take ownership of stuff and fully dive into the feelings of grief that come from us not quite having success in relationship. But for you, you've gone too far in that direction. And so at the moment, this is a soul contract. January is going to be a change for you. That change is going to be self-determination is the word I got. Yeah, 9s looping September. You're also Virgo, right? You're either a Virgo or a Libra. So, and that type of energy tends to be very mentally driven, both Virgo and, like, Virgo's an earth sign, Libra is an air sign, but the energy of both of those energies tend to be quite heady, and leading into the Scorpion energy, which essentially is quite can be destructive, and it's about burning away that which is no longer serving you anymore to start again. January for you is going to have some offerings. I'm drawn to the snake. And so I actually feel like I want to say, be careful about your, we all have a shadow aspect, and for you, there's a part of you that's slightly manipulative. And when I use the term manipulative, I don't like to see that word as just fully in the negative association. I want to disarm any of these words as being negative. I want to use the term manipulation as in my ability to stretch truth or to slightly massage that which I'm seeing in order to fit a particular reality over another one. And so the self-abusers do tend to do this quite a lot in order to try to keep themselves safe. So be careful about how you start to slightly manipulate truth in order to get a particular outcome, because we all do it. For you in January, you want to do it because you're feeling a little bit like you want more in the relationship and it's not coming for you that which you want. I also get the sense that there's a housing crisis of some kind with you at the moment that needs addressing. And so this might be that cohabitation is a question about whether or not you live together or not, but I feel like that's going to be an issue in January. So I hope that's helpful for you, dear. The Spirit is saying there is good news in January for you, but the good news comes in your ability to stay present with what is and to take ownership of how you feel. When you can do that, you'll find the answers that you seek will be given, and you'll find January will be easier. I hope that's helpful for you, sweetheart. He's a Taurus with a Scorpio moon. Yeah. Well, yeah, there are a lot of powerful energies there. I like it when the spirit oneness pays off. It's good that you're looking to move in together. So there's going to be a conversation there during January that'll be healing for you both. So just stay true to you, okay? Brilliant. Okay, Sam, thank you for tuning in. How do I go today? Any guidance on my business for next year or general messages? Cool. Before we do that, I just want to also acknowledge, if you're still online, Katie, thanks for saying hi. And I noticed your question, so we'll get to that before we sign off for sure. Okay, cool. I need a reset. I get the sense I need to reset my energy. And so I really feel like the first comment that I'm going to say to you, Sam, with regards to your business, you need a reset. So whatever it is that you've been doing, it's not working in the way that you intended it. So you need a reset. And so I feel like there's a certain amount of going back to acknowledge what isn't working and to call in that which has been working for you more. There's a lot going on with you in your business. Lockdown, I just got the word lockdown. Lockdown for you has been, hardship, but I feel like you've actually ridden that wave pretty well. And so there's a certain amount of technology that you have that isn't ready to be birthed yet. And that's why your business feels like it's not quite right. So I get a sense, I've got a 3-card spread again, we'll go through it. But deep into yourself for the answers that you seek. I'm getting guidance to say to you actually have the answers that you seek, but you're looking for validation that you're on the right path. And I can say that in a fashion, we're always on the right path. You're definitely on the right path. What your business looks like, though, might be something different to what you intended in order to get the funding that you need to build the business that you want. And so I get this sense of hesitation right now. I'm being drawn to the middle card first, which is about what's going on right now. And the middle card here is the 6 of Wands. Wands is about taking action. And so you can see in this picture, the man has his left hand on the wand, on the staff, and at the top is actually a wreath or a laurel. Now, a wreath or a laurel is actually that which you give a champion, right? Like they win the race and they get the laurel. And of course, this is an old-fashioned term, which already suggests that this in itself, where you're at right now, there is a certain old-fashioned program for you around winning and how important that is. And I get the sense that you are your best advocate. I get the sense that there's a part of you that feels like you've fully got this and that you're quite confident with that. And you're moving forwards with the dedication that you have on a soul level that it's all going to work out for you. I get drawn to the white sheath in the wind. And a sheath for me is actually something that protects something. And so I get also assurances, honey, that you're protected. So no matter what it is that you dabble with, no matter how much bravo you head towards life, or even if you just chill out a little bit and, as we say, reset a little bit, you'll find that you are protected. So spirit is guiding you to your highest potential because you're here to live that life. But you're not there yet, which is why you feel uncertain. So we're going to move just forwards a little bit further to this card. Now, this card is upside down. I don't always read upside down cards, but for you today I am. This card, if you look at it upright, is the 8 of Wands. And 8 is about abundance. So if I turn it around, it's actually about lack. Now, the other thing I'm being drawn to, essentially, I'll turn it upwards, are the number actually of I got the word elk. I don't know if elk is a spirit totem animal for you, darling, but maybe you can Google spirit animal elk and see what resonates within that, because I feel that that's true. But for you, the number, and we mentioned the number, and we also mentioned that this is by 2. So I feel the sense that in the past you've had 2 jobs, or you've had 2 things that you've run, and that you did that because with regards to your business, it obviously took a little while to kind of build, but I also feel like there was uncertainty as to whether or not you were on the right path. That uncertainty is still present in your field and being processed. Spirit is reminding me that confidence actually comes from success, which is the laurel. You are advocating for your success, but the level of success that is coming forwards is not meeting you. Yeah, I'm going to talk to you in a minute about that. The healing is important because as you heal, you also are healed. So there's still healing for you to do. So the healer aspect of you is really important still. And again, they're bringing me back to this idea of 2. At the moment, there are 2 lines of channeled information, if you will, that are streaming through your consciousness at the moment. One is the healer, and the other is the author and the I've got the word archangel. So I kind of, when I tune into the word archangel is benevolent, a benevolent teacher, and someone who would do this for free, because the archangels essentially aren't paid. They just go where they're needed and they just do the work. And as I kind of fall there, I'm kind of reminded of this archetype, or this idea of someone who feels a little bit uncomfortable with being able to receive money for the purposes of reaching their highest potential. And there's a part of you that feels like, if I reach my highest potential, then money is not going to be an issue. But the play on words often is quite worth kind of playing with, because if you were to fully embody that part of you, you still need to earn money. You're still a human here on earth. And so at the moment, you're teaching, you're writing at the moment, you're coming from a place of benevolence as you work with it, but it in itself still needs to earn you money. So you're going to need to drop a little bit of the vibrational alignment, only in so much as it needs to reach people here. And this is what the healing does for you. So the healing keeps you connected to that which is here, so you don't drift off and start to create something that is magical you, but then you can't sell for 20 years because it's beyond that which is available here. And this is the secret, right? It's like there needs to be a match with what it is that you're teaching and the way that you're here to impact reality. There needs to be some kind of need for that in this moment in order for there to be that receivership in the financial space. So the last card I have, essentially, this is 6 months into the future. So I'm getting June as the point. Between now and June, you're still going to be working it out. So I get the sense to back off a little bit and give yourself some space. You're on the right path. We validate that your intentionality is gold. So you have support from the greater oneness. Your spirit intelligence is broad. It needs to be in life, but the level at which you're pitching it at, there's like a short-term game and a long-term game. And so please don't forget the short-term game. The short-term game takes care of your human, and your human is pretty freaking fantastic. So I hope I can leave that with you. A spirit is saying you're actually familiar with this card, the Magician. You are a magician, so you can create miracles, and you've seen those land for you. So don't get too caught up in the fact that miracles happen, because miracles do happen, but the majority of life actually does require work. So two channels very significant. Got this a healing modality working with it now. Okay, cool. I hope I can leave that with you, dear. I hope that that's supportive for you today and that you've received something that's useful for you. Of course, if you want a little bit more guidance specifically to what you're going through at the moment, then of course I offer that online one-on-one sessions. So hi, Pumpkin Soul. Thanks for saying hi. All right. Okay, cool. We're going to talk to you about that in a minute because that's a psychic boundary issue. But we will gift you with a message. So stay on if you'd like. And we'll talk a little bit about psychic boundaries so that you can hopefully get better results for yourself and your own feelings, feeling awareness. Cool. Blue butterfly. Let's have a look, sweetheart. All right. I'm being told I need my other cards, which is awesome. Interestingly enough, this is the name of one of my mentors. I'm Lisa Williams trained. She has an international school of psychic development that I'm certified as a psychic medium under, which is an intense process, but certainly rewarding. And she is a medium professionally. She's a platform medium, so if you're looking for something across Christmas to do for YouTube, then she is. Yes, I will put that aside. Thank you. I'm going to laugh at what just jumped out. So blue butterfly, we are going to use these cards essentially. Those of you who want to look at what a platform medium is, then I would suggest maybe look up Lisa Williams and see if you can find out a little bit more about her. We're just doing a 2-card spread for you today. And then I've got the 3rd card there, which is a separate message. So we're going to work with that. The first card that I get essentially is, now this is just to confirm the question essentially is, what specific changes are coming for your boyfriend and you going into the next year? So the first card that I get is journey. There is an extremely long journey together. Now I am aware, I will declare, I am aware that you are pregnant with 2 male twins, so because we covered that last week, right? So the long journey is that of parenthood. You don't get rid of him ever now. He's a part of your soul code, and that's just what happens when you have babies together. There is no way that you can fully ever separate from someone that you have children with in any way, shape, or form. And Spirit's actually reminding me that with him specifically, you have soul lineage in the past as well. So it's not just a this life connection, it's also a past life connection. On the left-hand side, you'll see there's a smaller road less traveled. And so I get the sense that the connection that you guys have is actually quite a unique connection. It's different to the connections that you've had before. We do, like, it's partially about soul depth, actually. Like, so with him, there's a pathway where you are going much deeper with him than you have with anybody else romantically. And that this, but this has been a bit touch and go. And we talked, I think, last week about love and the love paradigm between you and him. But I'm getting drawn to the red, the pink roses. Now, pink is the color of unconditional love, and you have a plethora of unconditional love inside of you. But I have news for you, and this is for everybody. In love relationships, unconditional love only goes so far, because sometimes we can use unconditional love to sacrifice ourselves for someone else, and the energy often isn't returned to us because we haven't set what's called boundaries. And boundaries, I'm writing a course at the moment around energy boundaries. Boundaries actually does contribute to your feeling of wellness, because it's an act of self-love, and self-love should be unconditional. It should be the primary love that we have. When you love yourself, you encourage others to love themselves. And this is different to selfish love, which is where I purposely move into a space of I need to take things from everybody just so that I can get my needs met. This is a form of energy vampirism, and it's not technically love. So knowing the difference, sometimes we have relationships that teach us that, and sometimes we just see other people in relationships that teach us that. So you're on a long journey together. This card was actually upside down. So next year, the journey is going to change. It's going to be a completely different journey, and one that will be filled with a hell of a lot of opportunities for soul growth. Now, soul growth is not always comfortable. He'd never get rid of you guys, isn't that nice? Soul growth is never comfortable. Soul growth takes some time to work out. And so you are essentially, and I've got this card upside down specifically for a reason. The card itself is spring, which sometimes talks about a time period. In this case, we've already set a time period because you've asked me about your next year. Spring is a time of new beginnings and new starts. And so if it's upside down, it's basically saying that next year, it's not a new beginning for you. It's a continuation of that which has already been established this year. So next year, you can expect heart healing. You can expect a ton of growth after the birth of your twins. And with that, I'm getting assurances that there's also a girl between you coming at some point. This is the jumper card. This was the random thing. So that which is actually available to you in terms of your relationship with this current partner, I actually expect that in about 2 to 3 years, I actually get closer to 2 years, there'll be a girl on the way as well. And so I hope I can leave that with you this week, dear, as I move on to someone else to give them with a little bit more guidance. I know I don't stay very long after a reading. We're going to go into Katie Hardgrave, if you're still on, lady, and if not, inspire you, please. Hi, Emma. Thanks for saying hi. I will gift you with a card reading after I talk to Katie. And Katie asked me a question. It's so funny. As soon as I tune into you, Katie, I get the sense of your son, the child that I think I read for you as you were pregnant, and I get the same sense of the same soul. So there's a really good chance that he's a spirit worker. That's what I can say to you. He definitely is speaking to you psychically. Any guidance around my family? Yeah, okay, cool. So I'm just going to use the last card because I can use the last card, and I'm going to use a new one from tarot in a minute. So to start with, this is Freya. Obviously, you can kind of see it as Freya, right? Like, totally is. So Freya, she's going to pull on your attention a lot more because of the new child. I'd be surprised if she isn't already. I'm getting drawn to the wood underneath, and I get the sense of she feels really safe with Dad. The wood for me is actually like a youthful connection that is grounded and solid. So I get this sense that with your husband, there's an interaction between Freya and him that is beautifully playful and very childlike, but also grounded and present. And so as you start to move forwards with your relationship with your daughter, and Spirit is reminding me that when you have a daughter, the connection is very special. It's a very different connection to the one that you'll have with your son, just simply for the fact that you're feminine. So both of you belong to the Akashic field, the archetype of woman, right? The Akashic field bubble that relates to information for this particular meat suit. We use the term meat suit because, why not? I heard a scientist use it once in reference to brain science, so I figure that I can use it too. So playful Fraser's his name, isn't it? He just gave me the word Fraser. So Fraser's got this covered. He's pretty awesome. As you can see over here, we also see her holding on to dandelion seeds. And so Freya has a lot of, she needs a lot of distraction. And the distraction in itself actually doesn't matter what it is, but what matters is that she's got things to be distracted by. And when I say that that's what she wants, but obviously there's a certain amount of presence that is required to be able to help her ground and anchor as a child so that you can create a little bit more space for your son. And so I get the sense that there's a certain amount of playing around of energy between you and Fraser. That can help you to regulate Freya's nervous system better. She needs peace and quiet, and she needs to learn how to calm down. And so the distractions that she has is great, but I get the sense of creating some boundaries so that she has quiet time, so that she knows what to do in quiet time. The feminine mind does like to have something to focus on. And so when you do create calm time, sometimes you've got to gift her with something to activate and to work through. And so I'm getting a sense of breathing and breath technique is pretty good. So that's kind of worth investing in. With the next card, This next card is essentially how to get through Christmas for you. And so I laugh, but this is the tarot deck, the Celtic tarot deck. So how to get through Christmas for you. This is the horned one, otherwise known as the devil. And the devil in tarot is usually about embodiment of everything that's here. It's usually about just owning the fact that it's going to be challenging for you and letting yourself have an open door of allowance that it's going to be chaotic and it's going to feel a little bit uncomfortable for you. Sometimes when we're feeling uncomfortable, all we need to do is say the words, I feel uncomfortable, and the energy eases. And so with you with Christmas, what we're saying is that go with your natural flow, stay with your feels. If you're feeling overwhelmed, unsafe, whatever, use the words to express it. See how you feel after you express it. It doesn't have to be to anybody particular, but simply by acknowledging that you're feeling overwhelmed or tired or frustrated or like you need a cup of tea or whatever it is that you need, simply by expressing it, sometimes eases the burden of it. And so I hope that I can leave that with you, dear. I don't have any comments from you around that. Looks like my comments have frozen. So I hope that you're still online and able to receive that. So guys, energy is starting to fade. I'm just going to give Em a card before I wrap it up. And so we're definitely working with cards, Emma. Spirit loves you so much. I get a sense of completeness that you feel with your life at the moment. The completeness isn't enough for you though. There's still a thirst or a craving for something else. And so I actually get this sense that, and it's funny that I'm bringing to the relationship. I'm getting drawn to your relationship at the moment. There is a certain issue with your relationship currently and the kids in your life at the moment. And I get the sense that there's a part of you that really wishes that the kids weren't around. And so at the moment, there's a certain amount of acknowledgement from the spirit oneness that loves you unconditionally, that the trauma that you suffered as a child by being overwhelmed by everybody and by feeling unloved is actually being triggered right now for you. So inspiration, again, we land on inspiration. I actually get a sense that a certain amount of childlike quality, you have a childlike quality that you easily access, but you don't give yourself permission to fully embody it. There's always a part of you that's a little bit hypervigilant and always a part of you that's a little bit not quite in it. And we say that because there's a part of you that always feels like you're on call. There's a part of you that's always feeling called to be the ascended master. And this comes hand in hand with the fact that you're a spirit worker, and quite a good one. I get the sense that at the moment in your business, there's a lot going on that you don't really resonate with anymore. That's because you've changed personally. You will keep changing, but this change has been rapid. This last 18 months has been a massive, rapid change for you. There's a part of you that owns who you are and what it is that you do, but there's also a part of you that doesn't give yourself a break from it, a full break from it. There's always something simmering in the background. And again, that just talks about anxiety. Some of it is being given to you from external sources. And so I get directed again to the kids. The kids are still a sort of source of stress for you. You need to give yourself some space and time to just separate from them for a while. And it has to be a mental process. It has to be a conscious mental, I'm done with this. I'm just leaving. I'm going to give myself the afternoon to do whatever it is that I want, however it is that I want. It doesn't actually matter what it is that someone needs from me, because I need this more. So I hope I can leave that with you, my sweet, dear, lovely lady. Okay. Yeah, so we'll talk about pumpkin and then we're going to wrap it up because I'm feeling my throat getting a bit scratchy. And when it does that, it basically means that my energy is already in a point where I've reached my own level of giving. So pumpkin, you asked a question about about someone. Let me see where that was. Oh, you retracted it. That's cool. Okay, cool. You did ask a question about someone, and this is for everybody listening if it's interesting to you. With psychic readings, there are some who will give you information from on behalf of someone particularly. You can hide, but they will find you. Oh, come on. Yeah, I see that, Pumpkin. Thank you. Sorry, I got distracted by M there because she's very distracting. And I hope a big birther as well. Yeah, cool. So to answer your question, Pumpkin, I have one card. This is my last card for everybody, and it is going to be for everybody, but it's also in reference to your question. So you've asked for a channeled message from Mikey, his current feelings towards you, and I suspect that that's someone who's passed away, love. So the first answer that I actually get is that, and you'll see here, yeah, right, Spirit's actually taking me into a different space. So let me do that. We'll still use the card, but let me step into a different space first. Cool. So I get a sense of Mikey that before he passed, he wasn't actually listening to you. So I get the sense that there was something that was not quite right with his perspective, and your relationship with him was actually an in and out type of relationship. So I get the sense of a little bit of, what's the word? Like there was desire, but the desire in itself wasn't necessarily ever met by you and for him. And so I get the sense that he departed this life quite suddenly and quickly, and that there wasn't a lot of time for you guys to make amends before he passed. So the feeling I get, though, is that there may have been some abuse of substances that are relevant here with regards to him, because I'm getting the sense of a thirst that is unquenchable and that I need more. So I actually get the sense that there may have actually been something around, and forgive me if I'm getting this wrong, because sometimes we get these things wrong, right? I get the sense that maybe there was cocaine or something involved with his passing. I get the sense that I need to acknowledge that he is fine where he is, that he's actually quite fine where he is, and that he's receiving the love that he needs. You can actually see that on the back of this card, it says much love from Lisa Williams, my mentor. So I actually get a sense of, yes, he's actually been a great teacher for you. I feel like there's the experience that you had with him, you've learned quite a lot. And I actually feel like he's actually left you a message somewhere that for you is really relevant for you to start to realize how your interaction was when you were actually together, and to see how love was between you, because it's actually really important to acknowledge that what was. And I actually get the words, water under the bridge. Whatever happened between you and me is water under the bridge. I've moved on. I've forgiven myself. Please forgive me. And so, Pumpkin, I hope that that answers your question. This card is actually special to me. As I said, it's quite special to me. So I do get the feeling that there was a special something between you, and that he was quite special to you, and that he knows that. So I hope that I can leave that with you, dear, and that that's helpful for you, sweetheart. All right. So guys, I'm going to sign off today. No problems, Katie. I'm really glad that that was available to you to receive, and I hope that the energy of this video has been fine and that you've been able to receive the messages okay. Just a few reminders again. I have a couple of programs coming up if you're interested in any of my work. I have something that's called a Becoming program, which is an energy reset at the end of the year and a intentional reset, essentially. And so it's called Becoming 2022, or Butterfly Transitions Becoming 2022. And that's a 5-day, like 1 hour a day meditation, journey work, deep dive for yourself. And we do that on Facebook, on a Facebook private group. And it's $33 in your local currency, so it's a small amount of money, and you can do it at any time because it's recorded in the Facebook group. So if you can't join the live calls, then you just do them. So it's 5 days. It starts on the 29th here of December in Australia, and if you happen to be in the States, then it'll start on the 28th of December and run for 5 days. So if that's something that interests you, please join us. We always get a really sweet group of people doing it, and the participation is fun. So yeah, I invite you to check that out. There's more information on my Facebook page with an event there, so please check it out. The other thing is that I obviously teach people how to read. I find that learning to read is a sacred process. It's something that unravels over a period of time, and it really helps when you've got guidance and support to do so. You really have to start with what we call the clairs, which is our senses, our psychic senses. So just like you have physical senses, we also have subtle senses, and those subtle senses, when you know how to tune into them, gift you with the information that is hidden. It takes that which is unknown and it makes it known so that you can answer questions. And I use the clairs as in my job as a channel and a card reader. And so if any of that interests you, I do have some links that are attached to the description of this particular video, but do feel free to tune in. Please subscribe. I'd really love you to subscribe if you haven't already. And if you'd like to know when I'm on live again, please click the bell button for notifications. So guys, I'm going to sign off now. Next week we're heading into Christmas, so I won't be online with YouTube next week for a Facebook Live. We'll do them occasionally, but we will have energy forecasts that I do at the end of every month. I'm going to do one this week, so this week soon. So that'll be up, and so subscribing to this channel also gifts you with that. And you can also sign up to my mailing list if you like via my website, which is www.danaspiritbutterfly. That's DANA spiritbutterfly.com. So yeah, reach out if I can be of service. Otherwise, thank you for tuning in. I really have enjoyed this interaction with us. So be well, friends. Take care. See you soon. See ya.